That band is one of the loudest bands ever, and they are awesome. That band is called Sleigh Bells, and that song is called Comeback Kid. And I can't think of a more appropriate song for this episode of the Mike D and the Sure Shot podcast, episode number 4, Comeback Kid. What's up, everybody? Hope you guys are doing great, and hey, I hope you guys are enjoying what I'm putting out there. I received some feedback, some comments, some suggestions from people, and I really appreciate it. If you guys enjoy the podcast, leave a comment on Spreaker, the Spreaker page. That's such a weird word, Spreaker. Leave a comment or two on the Spreaker page, or on Instagram. Facebook too. I don't go on Facebook too often. I'll just kind of pop on and see if anyone has messaged me. But yeah, either on the Spreaker page or Instagram. Those are the two main things, best things. If you have any feedback or ideas, leave a comment. Show me some love if you like what I'm doing. Leave a thumbs up or a like or whatever. That'd be cool. Anyways, man, episode number 4, The Comeback Kid. Today we're talking about how do you come back from a long layoff of working out? How do you find that motivation to get started again? And for some of you, it might be, how do you find that motivation to start? I don't know. There might be some people listening that have never exercised before, and they're like, I really want to get this going, but I don't know what to do. I don't know how to start. So hopefully this helps you out. It all starts with your why. It all starts with your why, with your reason for working out. And reasons, your why is different than your goals. Your goals will come later. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But your why is specific to you. And look, you might have to dig. You might have to dig deep and find that true deep seed, that deep reason, the big bang, so to speak, of why you're working out, of why you want to exercise, right? Let me give you an example. I will give you my why. My why for exercising, for fitness, and it ties into my career, it ties into coaching, is I want to live a long, healthy life. I want to be there for my kids and for Melissa Katz, my wife. I want to be there for a long time. I want to see them grow up. I want to grow old with Melissa and experience everything that I can. Because when I was younger, my dad died. My dad passed away when I was only 4 years old. And he was young. He was only 39. And I think about that a lot. I just turned 37 in January. January 16th, 1981 is when I was born. And I just turned 37. And there's times that I think to myself, I might only have 2 years left. I know it's crazy. If you're listening to this, you're probably like, what the hell? But I can't help but think that. My dad passed away of lung cancer when he was 39 years old. He had smoked for a long time. He started back in the Philippines when he was a kid. I think he was 14 or something, maybe even younger. I don't know. It's really funny though how things change, right? Like back then, even in the 80s, which isn't that long. I mean, it is kind of. It's like 30 something years ago, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not that long ago. Cigarettes were looked at as something completely just different than the way they're looked at today. It is kind of interesting how things have flipped, right? Like now marijuana is looked at differently, which I'm not opposed to. I'm not going to lie. We won't get into that, whatever. But cigarettes back then were kind of a normal thing. I mean, hell, there were baseball players back in the 30s and 40s, 50s, maybe even into the 60s that used to smoke cigarettes on the, in the dugout. That's fucking crazy. But anyways, he smoked for a long time, and he got lung cancer in, I forget what year, 1985. And it was quick. It was quick. For a long time, my dad wasn't feeling good. He wasn't feeling well. And I don't know. I don't know if maybe he was just in denial. I'm like my father, where I'm very stubborn. I don't like going to the doctor. And he didn't go to the doctor at all. He'd been feeling ill for a while. He thought that maybe it was the flu. And one day, he came home from work. My dad was a mechanical engineer for the Exxon Corporation. He came home from work, and he was like, "Oh," he goes to my wife, "Oh, I'm going to go outside. I'm going to cut the lawn." So goes outside. He loved doing yard work. My mom hears the lawnmower start up, and literally 5 minutes after that, shuts off. Here's my dad come inside, and she goes downstairs. We had like a little den, a little living room where the TV was, and she finds him laying on the couch. And my dad said to her, I just don't feel good. I think it's the flu. I just need to rest." And he fell asleep, and he like passed out. He fell asleep until the next day. And my mom was like, "Something's up. We need to go to the hospital," or not the hospital. We need to go to the doctor. So they finally go to the doctor. Our doctor at the time was my mom's godfather, my uncle Ellie, my Tito Ellie. So my uncle checks him out. And I think my uncle knew right away that something was really not good. So sent my dad in for x-rays, got x-rays, and his lungs were white. So the cancer was everywhere. And I think the cancer eventually spread to his liver and stuff. My dad passed away within 2 weeks of diagnosis. Passed away real fast. And yeah, I was young. I was only 4 years old. I have a sister, and my sister she's a baby, essentially, because my sister's 3 years younger than me. So it was really quick. And I think about that sometimes, especially now that I'm 37. I think about, what if I only have 2 years left? What will I do with that time I have left? And I'll tell you what, I think that might be one of the reasons too why I started this podcast. You know, I want to do all these things. I want to do so many things. There's so many ideas in my head, but sometimes I'm afraid to do them. I don't know why. I guess maybe I'm just scared of putting myself out there, which might be a little bit ironic. If you guys know me, if you guys have ever been coached by me, you know, I'm pretty energetic, but yeah, I mean, with the yin, there's a yang, right? So there's that balance point. I think that maybe my dad's passing and me turning 37 and, you know, him passing away at 39, that is one of the biggest reasons why I'm into fitness and strength and conditioning, and hopefully doing good for people and doing good for myself. So that's my why. That is my deep reason. And from that reason comes kind of the fun stuff, right? Or more fun stuff. It's my goals. Well, okay, cool. Here's the reason I'm exercising. What do I want to accomplish? And it helps to be specific as you can with your main goal, and then you go from there, right? So let me explain. I was probably not the best goal setter for some time, for a couple years. And my goals in the beginning were, not in the beginning, my goals during that little rut period were too general, right? Like someone would ask me, well, what's your goal? Well, I want to get really strong. Okay, cool. That's not a goal. And I'd be like, well, fuck you, man. What do you mean that's not a goal? Of course that's a goal. And I think what they meant, you know, maybe that could have been framed better. Like they could have presented that better. I think what they meant to say was, hey, that's a little bit too general. That's a goal. That's cool. But let's be a little more specific, right? Let's set something that you want to accomplish, right? Let's get some data going, some parameters. And I know I sound super fucking nerdy right now. You don't have to be super nerdy, but it does help to have something in mind to shoot for. For example, my goal for the year 2018 is I am going to compete at the CrossFit Hoboken Winter Challenge in December of this year, which is great because it gives me a ton of time to prepare. I have a bunch of weaknesses that I need to address, a bunch of skills that I need to get better at. But you know what? That's my big goal. I'm going to go into that competition feeling good about the workouts. I want to do every workout and feel good doing so, not feel like, I don't know about this movement, I might break myself, right? And I also want to leave that competition feeling good. I'm going to leave tired, probably be a little sore. You know, instead of Vice Friday, that'll be my Vice Saturday. I'll have my 2 pints of ice cream then, right? But that is the big milestone in terms of fitness for this year. And from that comes all these other like little goals, right? So for example, I wrote down, let me get my notebook. I want to back squat 405 pounds, 4 reps again, because that was super fun when I could do that. And you know what? Old man strength, by the way, is a real thing. That's a real deal. Like if my dad was still alive, he would definitely have old man strength. I sometimes cringe. Side note, you're about to take a walk with me. I'm at the Della Torre residence, and I need to get my charger because my phone is dying. So you're taking a walk. We're going into the kitchen. Anyways, if my dad was still alive, he would definitely have old man strength, and I would be in a lot of trouble. My dad was a diehard Yankee fan, like diehard Yankee fan. I am a Red Sox fan. So he would definitely punch me in the face at some point, and we would probably brawl in the living room, and it would be hilarious. But, all out of love, obviously. But anyways, yeah, I would like to back squat 405. I think that 4 reps, I know that is something that I can accomplish for sure. I also want to, clean 275. I put a big star next to that. And I know the reason for that star. The reason for that star is because I used to be able to clean 275, but with not the best technique, right? So I want to clean up my technique and get better there. What's my other goal? Another goal. Move better. And when I say move better, it sounds like I already said that with the clean. But I mean just like moving my body in just exploring movement. Right, so if you guys have never looked up something called animal flow, you guys should do that right now. Go to your computer or go to your phone or whatever. You have a smartphone, so you can probably just, while I'm speaking and while you're listening to this, just go in your browser to Google and Google animal flow. Honestly, man, it's a great way to get some mobility and stability work in and keep it fun and entertaining. My good buddy, my mentor, Joe Myron, at Parabolic Performance and Rehab. He had me do this during my rehab process. We'll talk about that in the future, right? But man, it's just a really cool, fun way to get some mobility and stability work in. And as we get older, that is what we need to do more and more of. Another little side note, I was listening to the Barbell Buddha podcast, and Chris Moore was explaining that for every hour of exercise, right? For about every hour, you should be doing about 20 minutes of mobility work. 20 minutes. I guarantee that most of us are lucky if we get 20 minutes in like a week. Like super lucky. So if doing mobility stuff isn't the most entertaining thing for you, Animal Flow will keep you entertained. All right, enough of that little aside. So yeah, those are a few goals that I have, right? Be as specific as you can with that first one, and then go from there. Like I said, it doesn't have to be 100 goals. It can be 3. Let's start with 3, right? But I also think that you'll be surprised at how that list can expand. So with your why and with your goals, man, you now have a roadmap, a little plan, as to how to proceed. And it can serve as motivation as well. Like, say you get back on the train and you're exercising, you're working out, you're feeling great. Inevitably, something's going to happen, right? Something's going to happen where it's like, man, I'm losing motivation. I don't really know if I want to do this today. You can look back at your plan and say, all right, cool. This is my why. This is my reason as to doing what I'm doing. These are my goals. And you know what? I'm not going to accomplish these goals if I just sit on my ass eating ice cream, although that is fun, right? I got to put in some work. So this can act as motivation for you. Okay, cool. We got our why. We got our goals. Methods. What to do? What to do, my friends? Well, luckily, we live in a democracy, right? And it's all about, choices and things, America. Unless you're listening from overseas. I don't know who would be, though. But, if you are, that's cool. Maybe you live in, like, Cuba. Well, not Cuba. Whatever. I don't know what I'm saying. Methods. You got to choose something that you enjoy doing. Let me pause for a quick moment and take a sip of coffee, my friends, because I need to wet my whistle. Delicious. Okay. You need to find something that you enjoy doing. And I don't care what that is. It can be CrossFit. It can be bodybuilding, powerlifting, weightlifting, yoga, spin. Spin is really fun, as a little side note. If you guys have never done spin before, you guys should. Sometimes it depends on the instructor. I'm not going to lie. I only do spin once a year, typically. And that's Cycle for Survival, which is a cancer benefit. It's really awesome. Hosted by Equinox and Sloan Kettering. If you guys haven't done that, I really think you should. It's a fun day for a great cause. But anyways, sometimes it depends on the instructor. But spin can be really, really fun, right? I don't care if it's, it can be trail running, bear crawling up hills. It can be jumping jacks in a tree. Man, if you enjoy it, you're going to be consistent with it. And that is another point. Consistency is going to be key. And there's a big difference between being consistent with your workouts and the time spent in an actual session. Let me explain. I think it's better for you to start out with something realistic in terms of time, right? Like maybe you can only devote 20 to 30 minutes of time a day to exercise. Look, I'm 37, starting a family, have my wife, head coach at CrossFit Caldwell. I've got my things that I have to do outside of the gym, right? I've got life, okay? As well as my career. So I can't be spending 2 hours at a time now, 2 hours a day working out. I used to be able to, and it was glorious. It was great. But you know what? That's life, dude. Responsibilities happen, right? I would rather see you take a reasonable chunk of time, 20 to 30 minutes, and do that, say starting out, doesn't have to be 5 days a week. It shouldn't be 7 days a week. That's stupid, in my humble opinion. I'm sorry. But maybe 20 to 30 minutes a day, 3 days a week. Be consistent, build that habit, build that routine. You might be saying to yourself, even that 20 to 30 minute block, I can't. I don't have that time. Look, my dude, you sit down and you look at your day, I guarantee that you've got 20 to 30 minutes of time that you can devote. I challenge you, right, to put down your fucking phone, except if you're listening to this podcast. No, you know what? You can put down your phone while you're listening to this podcast. You can exercise and work out while you listen to this. Shit. Put down your phone, get off Instagram, get off Facebook. The ultimate time sucks of the day. I'm not a saint. Dude, I fall into that. I'm thinking right now, holy crap, I wasted about an hour and a half of my day, dead ass, honest with you guys. I wasted about an hour and a half of my day looking at Instagram. And I wasn't doing stuff I wasn't posting things to to help people, I was just flipping through people's pictures, right? That's cool for a little bit of time, you know? That's totally fine. Like, look, man, there is some really cool stuff on Instagram, and there's stuff that like if I like a picture, I'm legitimately liking it. Like, man, this really like, you know, it kind of touched me. You know, the message was cool. I love it. But man, I should only be spending like maybe 15 minutes on that, 20 minutes at most, right? There's other things that I could be doing, like working out or maybe reading, things like that. All right, I'm getting a little too off track. But put the phone down, devote that little block of time for yourself. Use that. That might be the only time that you get for yourself, right? Oh man, the kids, you got to fucking deal with the kids and take them to lacrosse practice and soccer and stuff. And then, oh man, I've got to make dinner for the kids, which, ladies, by the way, it's 2018. If your husband isn't making dinner at least like, I don't know, 2 times a week, you got to sit down and have a conversation. I enjoy cooking, I will say that. And you gotta, hey man, gentlemen, guys can do stuff like in the kitchen. It's cool, man. Like, learn how to cook. All right, anyways. Yeah. You know, you might have all that kind of stuff going on. You use that 30 minutes as you time. It's your opportunity for zen and for peace. And I think that's been one of the biggest realizations I've made literally over the past few months is back in the day when I would work out, it would be in the chase of numbers, right? When I was a competitive CrossFitter, I was like, when I was a competitive exerciser, I was like, all right, cool. I need to have this time in this workout. I need to be pulling or pushing this weight. I need to be able to keep up with this person and beat this person. I need to keep this other person away from me. And I got to chase this person down in terms of time and weight and rounds and all this kind of stuff. And when you're competitive, I think that's a natural thing in any sport, whether it's CrossFit or football or basketball or baseball. You start chasing numbers. You start chasing stats. And when I stopped doing that competitively, I lost my fire because all of a sudden I lost my motivation. You know, all of a sudden it was like, I didn't know why I was doing this. Once again, it all goes back to that why, right? I didn't feel joy. I didn't feel joy. That's what I'm trying to say. And over the past few months, I'd say since the summer of 2017, I discovered that joy again. I've just discovered the joy in moving and feeling accomplishment, in feeling my muscles do the work, in feeling my lungs breathing in air, breathing it out. I feel joy in that again. And that's super important for you because I use that time. You know, I try to carve out an hour of 1 hour a day for exercise. I use that time to feel zen. Because in my head, I'm like, you know what? This is my time. This is it. This is my time for myself where I get to do something for myself that I enjoy, something that's going to make me feel good and accomplished and kind of get me back in neutral, right? Just back in zen. I think that's super important for you when you're first starting out or if you're trying to start back up again. Find joy in the movement. Find joy in what you are doing. Use that as your opportunity to get centered, right? It's all about perspective. Well, it's not all about perspective, but perspective is key. And I think having this plan, finding your why, writing out your goals, right? It helps to put things in perspective. I'm trying to think, man, like, what are some things that I like to do to really get... So let me backtrack. Sorry, I'm kind of rambling a little bit because I wrote some notes out for the show, as I normally do for the podcast, but a couple of other thoughts have entered my mind as I'm speaking. So like I was saying, I lost that love for exercise, for working out, and that feeling for a while because I was chasing numbers, right? And I didn't know what to do. This was back in it started, I'd say maybe in 2015. I also was injured that year training. I was trying to get back into competition, and I hurt myself like an idiot. Like I said, I'm going to talk about this in a future podcast because it ended up being one of the best things that ever happened to me. I know it sounds cliche, sounds so fucking corny, and when people used to say that in a podcast or in a movie or on YouTube, I used to be like, what are you talking about, dude? That is such a corny, typical thing to say until it happened to me. But anyways, I'll talk about that later, right? I think one of the biggest obstacles for me, ironically, was being a strength and conditioning coach. Coaches, if there's any coaches listening to this, let me know if you feel the same way that I do, if you've ever hit this rut before. But I think sometimes as a coach, you're around all these brilliant people and you have all this information around you that it can almost be sensory overload. So the irony is this, right? You spend your time creating programs to help people achieve their goals and get better at what they're trying to do, right? All those great things that we've just spoken about. But then you sit down and you're like, oh man, what do I do, right? Like, okay, cool. Well, there's this new method. I want to give it a shot, but if I try that, then maybe it'll interfere with this other thing that I might want to do. But if I don't do that, then it'll mess that up and this up. Start going around in circles. So I lost that. I just fell into that trap for a little bit. Coaches, let me know if you have fallen into that trap. But then again, I didn't really sit down and I didn't really think about my why. Maybe if I had done that sooner, I wouldn't have fallen into that rut, So, guys, that's about it. That's all I got for you. Finding that little roadmap and then finding stuff that you enjoy doing. Oh, having a group of friends. This is the final thing. So this is also really helpful if you've never worked out before. Man, finding a group of friends that can help you along the way and help guide you, help foster that positive environment. That's one of the cool things, one of the best things, honestly, about CrossFit is the positive environment and the encouragement that you get, right? That can really help you when you don't feel like working out. Having a buddy, having friends that'll hold you accountable. Like I know, for example, at CrossFit Caldwell, man, everyone's super tight. So there's group texts of like, hey, where have you been? You haven't been at the 4:30 in a while. What the hell? Get off your ass. Or like, what the hell, man? You haven't been at the 5:15. You've been slacking. Having someone that'll hold you accountable, whether it's a friend or a coach or somebody, man, that can be super, super helpful. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got today. Sorry, not sorry. This podcast was a little bit longer. We're at about the 30-minute mark. I finally decided to pony up and actually pay for Spreaker. So I upgraded my account. So yeah, we can go a little bit longer, go a little bit deeper. That didn't sound right. I'm sorry. Longer and deeper. We can delve a little more into the into the subject matter at hand. And hey man, hopefully in the future, I'll have some guests on the show. People that have really helped me and influenced me in my life, both as a coach and just in general. And we can keep things growing. So I think I mentioned it earlier, man, like if you like what you hear, if you like what I'm doing, then please leave some feedback. Leave a comment on Instagram or on Spreaker. Hit that like button, that little heart button, just so you know that you like what I'm doing. Even if you don't like what I'm doing, it's cool. I totally get it. Just give me feedback. Let me know what I could be doing better. As I know that quality might be an issue. As of now, I'm just recording this on my phone. I'll probably get a microphone at some point and, we can go from there. But hey, I hope this episode helped you out. Please share it with anyone that you think it can help. And that's what I'm here for. That's kind of what all coaches are here for, right? Hope you guys are doing great. Have fun. Be well. And I'll see you guys really soon. Take care, everybody.